Well, hey there, guys. I'm Axel the Beast, and this is the Curiosity Shop, Zelda Dungeon video mailbag where I answer your Zelda questions. And oh my god! Zelda Wii! E3's in like about a week, and they're gonna announce Zelda Wii at E3. Isn't it great? I mean, who isn't excited? Alas, there will be no mailbag next week because, of all the E3 news, and we're gonna be doing a special E3 podcast. But that's not really much of a loss, now is it? First question, Jesse Bork asks, hey, last video you said you wanted less dungeons, but what if the dungeons were done well? Then would you want more? To clarify what I said last time, I basically meant if the dungeons were better, as in really good, I wouldn't mind if there were less, kind of a quality versus quantity thing. Whereas if they had, they were significantly worse dungeons, I wouldn't be satisfied unless I had quite a few more. I suppose it's the quality versus quantity thing. It's basically, I won't if they do less, they better be good. If they do more, it would be tolerable if they did more, if they were less. Yeah. Second question, Triforce asks, what do you think is the hardest game in the series? Of the ones I've played, I'd say A Link to the Past or Majora's Mask. A Link to the Past had some really hard moments, and it was a lot less holding in your hand. You didn't know what you were supposed to do a lot of the time. But, Majora's Mask, I think, overall, because it was a lot more mind-bending. It had all these insane puzzles in some of the areas, like the Snowhead Temple, the Great Bay Temple, and the Stone Tower Temple. And they did have some hard fights, so I'd have to say that. I think overall the hardest in the series is probably Adventure of Link. I mean, I haven't played it, but from what I've heard and from what I've seen, and I've seen someone play it, I'd say it probably is the hardest in the series. It's that 8-bit difficulty. Back in the old days, when technology was so primitive, the games kicked their butts. And now, these days, when technology is so advanced, we kick its butts. So it's kind of ironic. Lindsay Rini asks, do you think they'll feature Midna again in the new Zelda game, even though she broke the Mirror of Twilight? I think definitely not. I mean, there's popular demand stuff with Midna, and Nintendo has said if she's that popular, they might have to bring her back. But at the same time, this is Zelda Wii, and, it's like right after Twilight Princess. It's pretty soon, and it's so difficult plot-wise to bring her back. If they are going to do it, it'll be later when she's even more in demand. I don't think they're going to do it right now, and I think possibly not ever. Brandikins asks, do you think Nintendo should bring back Gossip Stones? I love the Gossip Stones. Have you ever used a bomb on one of them and then they rocket into the sky? Yeah, sure, there's no harm in it. There's even some advantages plot-wise. I mean, they never said anything important. It was literally just gossip, but they gave you interesting trivia and a little insight into the world and the characters. There's no harm there's no harm in bringing them back, and there's only advantages. So I see no reason why not. I just somehow don't think they necessarily will bring them back, but there's no reason why not to, which I probably said 3 times now. So yeah, I think it'd be great if they brought them back. Wilton L1 asks, do you think that Zelda will play a larger role in Zelda Wii? It's hard to say, of course. We don't, know much about the game. There's only speculation at this point. But I think, there were rumors about the game having a better story. More depth to familiar characters is better story, so maybe. If those rumors are true, of course. I don't think she'll be playable. I don't ever really care to have her playable, except, in Spirit Tracks where she was kind of playable. And, I think overall, I'd like to see her more. I mean, she's the title character of the game. It's kind of ridiculous that a lot of the time we hardly get to see her. It'd be great if she did play a big role and she actually appeared in the game that bears her name. It's at the point where, as people say, it should be called The Legend of Link. MJG1229 asks, hey Axel, do you think that Zelda Wii will have any downloadable content? If so, how do you think it will work, if it will even work? Downloadable content is really common these days. It's something that all the other game companies and developers are kind of using. There's this thing with Nintendo, though, that might make it unlikely, in that they just like to be original. They like to do their own thing. And sometimes it might be a bit of a detriment to them, though they usually do pull off the original ideas that get them the sales that they need. I think downloadable content is a little not like Zelda in a way. It's something that Zelda has its own nature to it, and downloadable content, in my opinion, might be a little contrary to that. Also, I'm not entirely sure the Wii is capable of downloadable content. It probably is, just in a weirder way. Perhaps they could do like mini games or extras that are completely detached, like extra dungeons that have nothing to do with the main game, like just side extras. I mean, I guess that's what downloadable content is. But other than that, and maybe not even that, I don't think it would fit too well. That's just me, and I'm kind of a fanboy, so we will see. Jennifer Volkman asks, do you think we'll see a new villain in the new Zelda, since there will be no Master Sword and therefore no Ganon? Oh, I never thought of that. Ganon can't be there if the Master Sword's not there, because only the Master Sword can defeat Ganon. Good point. They never confirmed the whole thing about there being no Master Sword. That was never confirmed. It's just a rumor. That said, I think a new villain is very possible, as is the absence of the Master Sword. I'm not saying that. I think a new villain is very possible somehow. I'm not sure. I think Ganondorf has gotten a little stale, even if he's completely awesome. I mean, I think if they're going to bring him, they maybe should... stuttering. I think it's possible that they're going to hold off on him and do him at a later date in a much more epic way, perhaps. So let him freshen up a little bit. And I also think that, with Twilight Princess, in that regard, how he was a little weird in Twilight Princess, that it's another reason we might see another villain this time around. Because I don't think we're going to see much of a repeat of Twilight Princess for some reason. Even the good aspects, somehow I think we might see a step away from there. And I was complaining about Twilight Princess again. Well, that wasn't so bad. Ultima Espada asks, would you like to have orchestrated songs in the Zelda Wii? If yes, would you like all the songs to be orchestrated? Possibly. I'll admit, and this is weird, I know, I'm not that much of a fan of orchestral music. I mean, it's good. I'm just not a particular fan of it. I'm picky, even though I can recognize greatness. It could work in the right context, absolutely. Epic battle scenes, epic cinematics, definitely. Even other songs in the game. Maybe not the entire soundtrack, because there's songs that just wouldn't work orchestral. Like creepier dungeon themes or stuff, or most dungeon themes probably, just wouldn't quite work. There's also the disadvantage that sometimes when you do orchestra, the song feels less unique, I'm sure that's not true all the time, but it's just, something to think about. I think we will probably see some orchestral music, especially if they're trying to amp things up, which I think they might be. But I think not the entire soundtrack, and I'd prefer not the entire soundtrack. Picky me. Funky Robot asks, where do you think the next Zelda will take place? They wouldn't just put us back in Twilight Princess Hyrule. How are they going to make it fresh? In all likelihood, a new incarnation of Hyrule. Maybe a new land, especially if this game is going to be kind of different, like Majora's Mask was, but it definitely won't be Twilight Princess Hyrule. You're right about that. I think they'll just do a new Hyrule or a new land that's not that dissimilar, and they'll just, make it fresh. It's what they always do. Hyrule's always different in every game to have a fresh experience. So I think they might just keep up with that. But I'm not sure. That's something I'm pretty uncertain on, what they'll do with the environment. I'm curious to see. E3 will be a hell of exciting. Steven Desjardins asks, if you could choose any character from a previous game to make a cameo in Zelda Wii, who would you choose? I'll have to pick 3, sorry. Probably Tingle, the Old Man, and the Happy Mask Salesman. I mean, Tingle, he's just an awesome, hilarious character. I'd like to see him again, especially in such a graphics-intensive game like Twilight Princess or Zelda Wii will probably be. The Old Man, he was awesome with all those quotes. I'd love to see him again with new quotes. Come on, admit it, you do too. And it'd be great if he was a new, maybe helper-type character or kind of a prophet or, just helps you in general. And the Happy Mask Salesman is probably one of my favorite Zelda characters, period. And I think they could do interesting trading stuff with him, or even have deeper plot elements. I don't know. those are the three guys I'd like to see. I think they could add a lot. Alright, last question. Jake asks, I found a supposed leaked E3 lineup sheet on Zelda Chronicles that referred to Zelda as The Legend of Zelda, The Fall of Hyrule. Do you think this source could be true and that this could be a possible name for Zelda Wii? I don't know about the sheet, but not the title. There's another title that was floating around, I think originated on Zelda Informer, though I'm not sure, called The Prophet of Light. And basically, there's no confirmed title. A lot of people are spreading these around, and some of them sound plausible, but there's none proven. Some of them could be right, but again, they're still just rumors. Rumors can be right sometimes. I'm a little reluctant to acknowledge them anyway since they're the title. That's pretty specific. We'll have to see you at E3. Alright guys, that's it for this time. I'll see you at the E3 stuff, and look forward to some videos, other videos this week. Later guys.